Hi, Scott Weatherford. Glad you're in Life Group tonight. We're going to have a really interesting discussion because I titled this talk, Abraham the Idiot. Okay? We've all made bad decisions. We've all done things that are really dumb. In fact, Terry and I have a rule about me in life called rule number one, and I won't tell you what that is, but it is just about me being stupid, me being an idiot. Very few of us get out of this life unscathed over our dumb moves or our dumb decisions. And I've often heard people say, if I could go back and do life over again, I wouldn't change a thing. Well, dadgummit, I would, because I've done some things that are really stupid. And I'd like to go back and undo those things. I've said some things I shouldn't have said. I've done some things I shouldn't have done. And most of us, if we're honest, we'd admit the same thing. I wish I had a do-over. I wish I had a mulligan in life. If you're not a golf player, that means, to cheat and hit another one because you hit a bad one. That's what it means. So I wish I had. Now, here is a stunning truth. Sometimes I'm not faithful, but God is faithful. Now, that's stunning. Sometimes I'm not faithful, but God is always faithful. God can take my stupid, bad decision and work them out for His glory and my good. How do I know that? Because of this passage. We know that all things work together for good for those who love God, who are called according to His purposes. Now, this is such a reassuring passage that God causes all things to work for good. Now, I've titled this Abraham the Idiot. Why? Because I want you to listen to this account, and you'll understand why. There was a famine in the land, so Abraham went down to Egypt to stay there for a while because the famine in the land was severe. When he was about to enter Egypt, he said to his wife Sarah, "Hey, look, now what a beautiful woman you are. And when the Egyptians see, they will say, 'This is his wife,' and they will kill me to let you live. I say you are my sister, so it'll go well for me because of you, and my life will be spared on your account." When Abraham entered Egypt, the Egyptians saw the woman was very beautiful. Pharaoh's officials saw her and praised her to Pharaoh, so the woman was taken to Pharaoh's household. He treated Abraham well because of her, and Abraham acquired flocks and herds, males and female donkeys, male and female slaves, and camels. But the Lord struck Pharaoh and his household with severe plagues because of Abraham's wife Sarah. So Pharaoh sent for Abraham and said, "What have you done to me? Why didn't you tell me she was your wife? Why did you say she's my sister? So I took her as my wife. Now, this is your wife. Take her and go." And then Pharaoh gave his men orders about him, and they sent him away, his wife, and all they had. Okay, what the heck? Okay, here's the deal. Abraham made a decision to do something very dumb. And the first decision he made was to leave the assignment of God and go to Egypt. God said go to Canaan. A famine came. Instead of Abraham trusting God could carry him through the famine, he went to Egypt. And I want to tell you something. Nothing good happens in Egypt. Nothing good happens in Egypt. Now, I'm not talking about the modern day Egypt. I'm talking about the Egypt of the Bible. Every time people flee to Egypt, it's because there's something going on. Jesus went to Egypt because, Herod was trying to kill him and kill all the babies. So Jesus lived as an immigrant in Egypt, and he came out of Egypt. And, of course, Joseph went down to Egypt, and all the Hebrew children, and 430 years later, they came out as slaves. And so there's just a lot of bad things come out of Egypt. And you'll see Egypt as a place of not a good place to go. Even when the prodigal son story was told, he said the prodigal went to a distant land. Everyone who heard knew that he'd gone to dadgum Egypt. So there's nothing good that comes out of Egypt. But when you go into Egypt, you're not going to find anything good. So Abraham, instead of believing God, took matters in his own hands. Always a mistake, a bad decision. So he makes a mistake. Then Abraham was afraid because Sarah was beautiful, that she would be a target. And she was. Most likely Sarah was in her 60s, y'all. He said, well, women of that day didn't age like women of this day. Wrong. Sarah's mentioned as one of the four most beautiful women in the Bible. Here they are. Abishag, the Shulamite, who was 18 years old, laid in David's arms to keep him warm, and he did not have sex with her because he was too old. Okay? Bathsheba, Esther, and Sarah. She's in the top four of the most beautiful women in the Bible. Oh, okay. So Sarah was a beautiful woman in her 60s, and then Pharaoh sees her, and she became a target for her. Now, was Sarah Abraham's sister? Yeah, he didn't lie about that, even though it's a little creepy, like a sister, half-sister, stepsister something like that, but they were related, so it was just kind of creepy, but let's don't go into that. Abraham then, get this, allowed his wife to be exploited by Pharaoh. And Pharaoh said when he took her to his household, listen, she was added to his harem, and he says he treated her as his wife, meant that Pharaoh was having sexual relationships with Sarah. What? Abraham was an idiot. In spite of Abraham being an idiot, God gave him possessions, but God was taking this stupid decision and working it out for good. I'm sure Sarah wasn't really thrilled with this dumb move. That may be why they didn't have any children for another 25 years. Just saying. She was ticked at her husband. So, although Abraham was an idiot, God is always faithful. And I think that's the lesson we learn. God delivered Sarah from this abusive situation, and he enriched Abraham in spite of that. And God's faithfulness extends past our stupidity. Did you hear me? Now, the biggest question is not, can God be trusted? The biggest question, can I be trusted? Now, I want you to talk about this. It's really interesting. And dig around in Scripture about this, that Abraham made a bad decision, but you're going to see, it's not the last time he does it, and you're going to see later that his sons do the same thing. It's like, what is wrong with these people? Sin. Taking matters into your own hands. That ought to lead to a great life group discussion. So have fun with this. I love you, and I'll see you the weekend.